Fellow alchemists, welcome to Astrology. Today we're doing Lilith in the deep, dark, mystical, occultic, esoteric sign of Scorpio. So join me as I try to divulge the secrets of Lilith and her placement and role in this sign.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
So Lilith in Scorpio. Oh, bless your souls. Bless your souls. What happens when the darkest, most primordial aspect, and by dark I mean secret and esoterical aspects of the feminine energy, and all of its platitudes, all of its wild and tumultuous environment and atmosphere and ambiance that it brings with it, being in its presence, what happens when that sits in the sign that is all about transformation? And this is not light-hearted transformation. This is not light-hearted at all. In fact, to go into Scorpio, and if you've seen in all my other videos, when I address Scorpio, I try to address it as honestly as I can. Because to be light-hearted with this sign is to give it an injustice. It's an injustice. You cannot be light-hearted. You're not being truthful with the sign if you're just trying to skim off the surface. This sign rules over the 8th house, which is about death, transformation, possession, and hidden things, the occult. Now, when you bring deep, dark, feminine, the deep, dark, feminine element of Lilith, and you put it in the deep, dark sign of Scorpio, the fixed cross, this is where the fixed cross forms its point of transmutation, and the alchemist is at work. The alchemical process is done in Scorpio. Make no mistake, the alchemical process of transmuting lead into gold is done in Scorpio. When you go into Scorpio, you are going into the depth. You are dealing and you are opening up chasms. You are opening up portals. You are opening up entry points for all sorts of conundrums, for all sorts of conflicts that you're supposed to go into and fight. Scorpio is the sign of the military. It's not the sign of the soldier like Aries is, because Mars rules Aries, which is the sign of the soldier, determination, persistence. Scorpio, because when you look at the sign itself, the scorpion animal itself, right? It's in armor, it's got claws, and it's got a stinger. This is the military. This is war. This is the sign of war, the sign of the disciple. This is where you either fail or you succeed, and if you succeed, you can go into the third initiation, which any Freemason or anyone in the kind of lodges, Rosicrucian, will tell you, Rosicrucian belief system will tell you what the third initiation is. So Scorpio is all about stepping above your baser instincts, and finally, for once, in all your incarnations, you can mount the cross. And it's going to be mounting the fixed cross, and that's all of your primal, that's all of your instinctual, that's all of your deep, baser, beastly instincts. You mount it here, you finally conquer them. And now you can take that step forward where you now receive the higher gifts, the higher initiations. You finally meet Saturn at the doorway, waiting for you in Capricorn. And you can take in the higher initiations. You can meld with the higher concepts and the higher planes. But that only happens once you've defeated the Hydra in Scorpio. Because this is where Hercules defeated the Hydra. This is where Hercules, after constantly failing and going through platitudes and failing at those, finally realized that I cannot stand and fight the Hydra. I cannot continuously cut all these heads off. What I need to do is I need to surrender. I need to surrender, and so he did. And when he did, he lifted the Hydra up above his head into the ray of the sunlight, and the sun itself finally revealed the true head of the Hydra, and Hercules could go through all the illusion and finally see the place he needed to remove the head from. And so what happened then is that he reached his enlightenment. He moved on. He went into the high initiation. So when you have Lilith, that feminine energy, which is either our emancipation or it's also our point of enslavement, those issues really come to a head. Those issues are so prominent here. Those issues are so deep here. This is not a playful position. This is, Lilith is not a playful position or energy itself, and the element, the power of Lilith is not playful. However, in Scorpio in particular, it is deadly. It is deadly, and it is meant to be deadly. So this energy in Scorpio is all about death and decay. The process of dying, killing off a part of your personality, killing off the fixed cross characteristics, the animalistic nature of your lower self. And then through a process of transformation, transmutation, as the alchemist, you're supposed to take all of that and you're supposed to transmute it until you're able to live above it. And with Lilith here, your emancipation, your rebellion, your act against the flow, against the stream that's coming at you, this is what Lilith pushes forward, in particular in the sign. So you could work, and again, in particular, I must emphasize that with Lilith in Scorpio, if you make a mistake, you will feel it, and it will be detrimental, or it will be so life-changing that you cannot escape it. You cannot escape it with Lilith in Scorpio. You have to be careful. But remember that you aren't given this position. You weren't born into this position. Your soul knew what it was doing. Your higher self knew that you were strong enough. It was strong enough for you to go into this life, for you to deal with this placement. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been given it. So I'm not trying to scare you off here. I'm not trying to make you I'm not trying to make you fearful of this position. I'm trying to make you realize that with great power, I hate to say this cliche, but with great power comes great responsibility. And if you cannot live, and if you cannot work with this energy successfully, if you fail at this energy, you will find yourself being knocked back a couple of reincarnations back. Instead of stepping forward up the ascending arc and evolving and leaving and departing from the karmatic scale. So a lot of the issues of its lower form or lower expression of Lilith in Scorpio can become the sadist. This can be someone who just enjoys hurting people. This can be someone who gets pleasure, sexual pleasure from possessing and hurting people. So be very, very, very careful, because you can get in a lot of trouble with this position, but you can also find so much success with this position. Lilith, again, is not about the middle ground. It's either you're good or you're bad. It's the extremes. It's the extreme polarities. And Scorpio, pulling from the polarity of Taurus, is also about extremes. You're either good or you're bad. There's no in between. And so when these mesh together, you need to be careful. But if you do it correctly, the esoterical meaning is that you will depart. You will be able to take in the third initiation finally, and embark down the road of the adeptship. You are now an adept. You are now done your Sheelaship. You are now an adept. You have reached that level. And that's Theosophy, and that's Freemasonry for all of you who are wondering what I'm talking about. You've now reached that level. But if you fail, you will find yourself in a very bad pickle indeed. So just be aware of that. Be very aware of what kind of energies are being displayed or being projected into your life with Lilith, your emancipation or your enslavement, in the sign about emancipation or the enslavement to your basic instincts. So fellow alchemists, I know that was a bit morose, but I really hope I banged home the message about Lilith in this very, very prominent part of the chart. Please don't forget to subscribe if you weren't scared away, drop a like, and drop a comment down below. In fact, I'm really interested to hear what it's like living with this sort of position. Other than that, please take good care of yourself. I'll see you next time when I do Lilith in the sign of Sagittarius. Until then, goodbye.